In this video, I'll share my experience using Upwork to hire a freelance video editor. I had both positive and negative experiences that I think could be useful to you if you're considering using the platform. First, for those of you who are not familiar with Upwork, it is an online marketplace where clients can hire freelancers. Upwork facilitates the transactions, contracts, and infrastructure, and takes a small fee for their efforts. Both clients and freelancers can advertise on Upwork. And if you use two different emails, you can have both types of accounts. My first experience with Upwork was working as a freelancer for a corporate client. I complete a couple of projects for them each year, so I'm familiar with the freelancer side of Upwork. But what I want to focus on in this video is the client's perspective. Because I was able to use Upwork to generate income and my corporate client uses it, I was confident that I would be able to find someone to help me on the platform. So the main question was, can I afford to do it? Followed by, do I want to hire someone and go through all of the effort rather than continue doing things all on my own? Fortunately, the product I need help with is a course that does quite well, so I can rely on having at least some money to invest in streamlining production. And after suffering through several years of spending 2 or 3 months producing it myself, I finally got to the point to where editing the course feels like a chore, and I dread doing it. I'm handling a lot of jobs for just one person, so the advantages to hiring someone were attractive. Getting it done faster earns more income because I can start selling the course sooner. This also reduces the likelihood that I will lose sales to competition. It also keeps me from neglecting other projects that are important staples of my income. And it gives me more time to invest in making my product better. There's also the advantage of having free time for vacations and just to slow down my pace a bit. After considering all of this, I finally decided to give Upwork a try by at least posting a job offer. Setting up an account was easy, as was linking a payment option, so I won't go over that today. You can set up an account if you want to try it out. Because the substance of a job posting varies, I won't get into how to write one or anything like that. Though I will advise you to put effort into the job description because it will save you time and prevent misunderstandings with freelancers. Working out the fine details will also help you understand more precisely what it is you want help with. Essentially, I just described what I needed help with in detail. I wanted a video editor to edit my annual course and occasionally some smaller courses and YouTube videos. The rate for your project can be hourly or a flat rate. If you're worried about going over budget, you can set limits on how much you spend each week. If necessary, a freelancer can ask to go over the limit, and if you agree, you can modify it. For further peace of mind, you have the option to track what the freelancer is doing with screenshots and ask them to log how much time it takes. This is done with tracking built into Upwork. All of this is communicated to the freelancer, and the fee and project terms must be agreed upon up front. These terms are enforced by Upwork. For example, if a freelancer does not produce work, the client does not get billed. And likewise, if a freelancer does work that is well documented and accurate, then the client must pay them. Before publishing my job post, I prepared a document with detailed guidelines about how my videos should be edited. I also estimated how long it takes me to complete various types of videos. This helped me understand what a reasonable estimate would be and how much I might expect to pay. I even prepared test projects for candidates to work on. If this level of preparation is appropriate for your project, I would highly recommend it. It's going to be very difficult for a potential hire to comprehend, let alone estimate your project with only a vague description. Next, I was ready to make the job public. As someone who has had to estimate projects and do trial work myself, I didn't want anyone to work for free, so I went into this expecting to lose some money in order to find a good candidate. Within a day, I met someone who seemed like they might be a good fit. I hired her to edit my test project, but it took 4 times longer than it would take me to edit the video, and she had not even finished the job. She was also unfamiliar with some of the advanced editing techniques I use. That wasn't going to work, so I gave another couple of people a shot to edit the same video. One candidate looked at the test video and did not have a recent enough version of Premiere Pro, so they withdrew. And the other did a partial edit and then gave me a quote, which would have been maybe 1/3 to half of what I'd make off of the course over its lifetime. And that's not even a binding estimate with any guarantee of the project being finished. We're talking about a quote for tens of thousands of dollars here. Clearly, these folks did not have the skills to edit videos efficiently. By this point, I exhausted the small pool of candidates who had applied, and I had moved on to trying to contact freelancers directly. This time I simply showed people the sample project and asked for a rough estimate to edit my course. I was determined not to waste any more money on people who aren't up to the task. Again, I got a lot of estimates that were way beyond reasonable, not just from a financial standpoint, but also if it takes close to a year to produce a course, then it's not worth it because it will quickly become obsolete. That's not to mention that I'm only asking people to help with part of the project. I am recording everything, and I can complete that plus the edits in a fraction of the time I was being quoted. When this happens, you're dealing with people who do not have the skills and experience, so they're just bidding high and hoping that they can fake their way through it and get paid. As a freelancer, I understand that. We all have to get our foot in the door somehow. That's exactly how I got started with zero experience. But for clients who know their stuff, that's just not going to fly. I also encountered a lot of sketchy freelancer accounts. Many of them had replies that were just copied and pasted to be sent out in bulk. Others were so-called agents who you would hire, and then they would outsource the work to someone else. It was beginning to feel like the dream of hiring someone was slipping away. I was about to give up when I got another applicant. He mentioned that he is into digital art, which is what I teach, and he even has his own YouTube channel, so I eagerly hired him to edit the test project. He returned the project in not much more time than it would have taken me to edit the video, and when I asked for an estimate for the entire course, his estimate was reasonable. I was delighted, so we proceeded to move forward with editing some YouTube videos while I waited for the next version of the software to be released. With each video, he improved upon the editing process, offered suggestions and feedback, and took creative liberty to make the videos more effective. This is exactly what I wanted when I started looking for a freelancer to help me. Not just someone who will do the bare minimum, but someone who cares about their career and mine enough to do their best work. After some more video projects for YouTube, we began work on a smaller course. As we collaborated, we streamlined the communication and production process to become even more efficient. After the smaller course, we were ready for the big one. This is an annual 16-hour course with 64 videos. It normally took me 2 to 3 months to complete this on my own, but I was done with my share of the work by the end of August. So by hiring an editor, I saved roughly 1.5 to 2 months of my time. Well worth it. By mid-September, the course was 100% complete. The cost was feasible considering how much I stand to make off of the course, and I was so pleased with the results that I gave him a bonus and a pay raise. Payments came out weekly, so the freelancer was paid for his time throughout the project. That's something to consider because you will need to have the money available up front each week to pay them. While I am quite satisfied with the current freelancer I'm working with, my overall impression is that as in local situations, online talent is probably mostly spoken for. If you're lucky, you will attract a good freelancer who is not already overbooked, but many people on Upwork are trying to make a buck without really having the skills or drive to do it effectively. You may find that the rates are better suited for your project if you hire talent from around the world. Higher rates don't necessarily correspond to better talent. I had people charging top dollar overbidding my project too. If you aren't as familiar with the industry you're hiring for, it could be easy to overpay for services. In my case, the freelancer I'm working with is from Brazil. Unlike me, he is fluent in both English and Portuguese, and I didn't have any issues sending files to and from Brazil. Upwork also handles converting my dollars into reals and deducts local taxes. There are freelancers all over the world, and we are all pretty much used to the idea of remote work, so don't feel like you need to only hire someone from your region. The only downside to working internationally are the time differences. There's a good chance that your workday starts just as your freelancer is going to bed. That can be disruptive to progress from both a client and a freelancer's point of view, speaking from experience with both. In total, I have spent $2,700 on Upwork this year. For that, I got 2 courses and a handful of YouTube videos edited, though maybe 200 of that was spent on the trial videos. Proportionate to how much I will make from these projects over time, I'd say that meets my expectations. Cost really is an important consideration. A course or extensive project is a lot of work, not just the tedious stuff you will delegate, but everything it takes to generate income. You have to find the balance between paying a fair wage and being able to afford to hire someone. If it takes 50% or more of your income to pay for assistance, that's a lot. That's like a business partner. You might not be able to afford to lose that much money and still do your project. In my case, if I had to spend that much, I wouldn't be able to afford to produce the course each year. If what you are spending on work for hire is closer to 5%, 10%, maybe even 20%, that's more appropriate, but this varies from project to project. $2,700 might seem like a lot of money, but if you're at the point of hiring someone, you should have enough money coming in to pay for them. If not, then you're going to have to continue doing everything yourself. In the meantime, you can focus on growing other aspects of your business so that you can generate more income to hire someone in the coming years. There you go, that was my experience hiring a freelancer on Upwork. If you want to learn more about being a full-time content creator, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and stay creative.